Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. It's American Independence Day, and to commemorate having thrown the British out of the country, Wargaming has, well, got an event going on with a new Blitz Pass, and has decided to honor this with a black ship. And it's a Dallas. So you can imagine my initial, well, let's call it consternation about picking what is arguably one of the worst ships in the game and turning it into a black ship. I mean, honestly, everybody who is grinding up the American light cruiser tech tree is utterly glad to have made it across the Dallas in tier 6 and into tier 7. And the Brooklyn is actually not all that terrible. So, so we have a black Dallas. Right then. But, let's be open-minded and let's actually compare the two ships. So the Black Dallas versus the Tech Tree Dallas. The first thing that stands out, and this is tradition with black ships, is that the ship skills are a completely different set. So where the regular Dallas gets a defensive AA, which doesn't do her a great amount of good, the Black Dallas gets a rapid reload and 2 sonar charges. So that's welcome, because one of the biggest problems that you're going to have in the Dallas is that while it's a light cruiser and it can fire HE, it is almost impossible to actually set fires with this thing. So due to, well, the low chance of fire and the relatively slow reload on the guns. So the Black Dallas, everything looks identical so far except for maneuverability. So she is actually turning a bit better than the original Dallas. And the guns, if you look at them, actually start out with an 8.2 second base reload instead of the 8.5 second on the regular Dallas. Now she does get 10 guns, which is a fair amount. Plus she does get the secondaries, but she doesn't get torpedoes, obviously. But yeah, one of the things that the Dallas has really been struggling with is the relatively low fire chance and the relatively slow reload. Setting fires is not a particularly frequent occurrence on this ship. So a faster base reload is obviously very welcome. And yeah, the secondaries are identical and the AA is identical as well. Now you don't get the defensive AA skill. And if you are coming under concentrated air attack, obviously there is some things you can do with the original Dallas. So this is less of a support ship and more of a hunter, actually. Now, the biggest thing that often stands out is the switch to the extremely low shell velocity. Because starting with the Dallas, you get shells that are having a huge amount of hang time, very, very high firing arcs, which makes it all but impossible to hit small targets at range. And the thing is, you didn't usually want to be at close range because you are still in a very, very squishy light cruiser. So... but yeah, this is actually not a completely terrible change with the rapid reload. Equipment-wise, I'm using the same equipment I would be using on the regular Dallas. I can't remember my actual review on that ship, but I would recommend using the main battery mod 2 to get the reload down. Even though it may cost you your occasional turret, but you've got 4 of them. You definitely need the propulsion mod in slot 1 and the steering gear in slot 2 because, well, you are in a very light cruiser still. So being shot at by anything makes it hurt. Which gets us down to a very, very reasonable turn time of 6.5 seconds. And the guns are actually starting to approach something reasonable with 7.8 seconds base reload and a 4% fire chance. The elite bonus that you can choose is either an AA spec, which may make sense if you are playing the regular Dallas, not so much here. So main battery traverse max speed is kind of a better choice here. In terms of commander skills, now once again doesn't quite match anything else because the light cruiser line gets well, it does, at least in the sonar, but light cruiser line is going to get radar sonar and defensive AA, whereas here you're going to get a rapid reload. So for example, the fire supremacy skill that you want for an extra rapid reload, which is highly recommended, is not something you would usually take on the regular tech tree line. Similarly, you'd have to take the master reloader going further up. All right, the camo, I have to check if that's the same on the actual Dallas. So this gives us hit points, main battery range, AA range, and torpedo damage reduction. If we look at the actual Dallas, hit points, main range, large AA range, and torpedo damage. Yeah, so it's the exact same. It's the exact same camo on the black Dallas. Large caliber AA range, okay. The thing is that the AA is concentrated on the small caliber for Dallas, and main battery firing range is probably the one that you really, really want. And obviously you can't bet your hit points, but yes, being able to land shells from further away in a light cruiser is always a good thing. But yeah, for now we are going to sail out with the Seaborne Assault. So let's just start with, a reasonable ship and see what we can get ourselves up to. In the first battle, we are bottom tier, and it is actually a carrier battle, but we have Ryujo, Nagato, Colorado, Fuso, New Orleans, and 2 destroyers on the enemy team. We're playing New Dawn Domination, which means there's a bunch of islands around that we can use. But yeah, the biggest the biggest problem with the original Dallas always was that you are really, really, really struggling to get enough ordnance on target to actually set fires. And the spacing between the fires was such that if somebody damage conned a single fire, which you find very frequently in mid-tier, you can't really exploit it, because by the time you manage to set a second one, the damage con's off cooldown. So, all right, we are going to follow that Akka here into Sea Cup, and we've got a 5.7 kilometer secondary range, which isn't terrible. The problem is that obviously if you're fighting anything with bigger guns, you do not want to be in secondary range. But yeah, we do have 3 rapid reloads, which does help actually in getting some more fire on target. Okay, no destroyer in C so far, and one destroyer is in A, which means the other one might be going B, or is just taking his time to get here. Okay, I'm spotted, so the other destroyer is here. I just can't see him that. Yeah, there's the Minsk. Okay, so I want to start unloading at the Minsk now. Obviously, you do want to start shooting. Want to start shooting AP at destroyers, but even at these ranges, I'm oftentimes sticking with the HE. Also, there's a Colorado over there, and I am going to have to switch my fire very quickly. I just wanted to push the Minsk out because I didn't want to give chase here and then just be blapped in the side by the Colorado. Okay, so there's a damage con on a single fire, and now we're going to try and set the Colorado on fire again, which isn't really going to work. But it looks like the Minsk is making his way back, and I am being shot at by 2 battleships, so I do need to actually start making my way out here. So I'm switching over to armor piercing. I'm not yet using a rapid reload. Yeah, this is even a Colorado at this range can take easily 1/3 of your health off with 1 salvo. I just want to keep the Minsk out, and yep, I've lost one of my gun turrets. That is fine. I've got a couple more, but yeah, I just want to keep the Minsk out from here and make sure that he doesn't get through. And we're retaining this capture circle because I can't play out in the open with a heavy cruiser and 2 top-tier battleships sitting around there. So just using the islands to cover myself a little bit here and see if the Minsk wants to come out. But I think the Minsk has realized that I'm here and is thinking better of it. It does not want to come out here and fight a Dallas. I'm not even using my Hydra yet because I don't think he actually had angles to get his torps away. I'm just going to have to keep an eye out on these battleships because there is something on the far side there that looks suspiciously battleshipy. But so I don't want to give that broadside. We're holding the cap. We're holding 2 of the caps actually. And yeah, there are some more shells coming in. I don't know, it's probably the Colorado. But at this range, not so much of a thing. Now the Minsk has a problem. If he comes out that way, there's an Akka. If he comes out this way, I'm sitting here. Now, I'm not sure if he's forgotten about me because I'm unspotted, because I'm actually outside detection range of the battleships. But he is getting chased out from there. And I think the Akka is about to torp him, so just shots out. But yeah, Akka gets him. Okay, there's a Nagato. So now, yeah, we are going. My guns are back up, and now we can start using the rapid reload a bit more. So I'm not sure if he's AFK. he kind of looks AFK. But yeah, once again, mid-tier battles, this sometimes gets weird. So I don't trust this quite yet. He is moving. He's not AFK. He is moving. He's just not shooting at me. You see that the smoke's moving just a little bit? There he goes. Yeah, he's moving. Okay, so I have decided that the ship isn't actually AFK and he's just playing dead and maybe waiting for me to get closer or something. I'm not sure what this tactic is, but I think at some point he's going to start shooting at me. But yeah, you see what I mean, right? You are unloading salvo after salvo into a Japanese battleship, which doesn't have the greatest fire and flooding resistance, and you are not doing a great amount of fires, really. And, oh, there he is. So he's not AFK. He's definitely shooting at me. So I'm reversing under these shells, and now I'm going to go forward again. Let's just see if I can keep dodging these shells. This is about as far as I want to get. I probably want to get a little bit further. And just making sure that I get as many shells on target as I possibly can. I mean, he's giving me a very good broadside target here, but okay, there come the shells, and he's actually shooting too short. So me slowing down wasn't even the right move here. But let's see if he figured out that I'm going forward and I'm going backwards again, and he might not have realized that. So backwards it is. And wait for the next salvo to come out. I'm still not fired, right? I've now fired 130 shells and I've set 1 fire. There's a fire against the Nagato. Yay! Now he's going to damage con the single fire, or he's going to let it burn. No, he's damage conning it. Okay, so he thought I'm going forward while I'm going backwards. Of course, he shot one of my gun turrets off again. So it's time to go forwards again. And just keep dropping shells. But yeah, it's unlikely that I'm going to get a second fire going anytime soon. So the damage, I can't really exploit the Damacon. But again, this is the same problem you have on the regular Dallas. You just, have to live with that sort of thing at some point. And the shots go fall short again, and we've got him killed. And that was actually, I think, the last ship in the battle. So a very strange battle, but it does highlight that... well, the typical Dallas problem in dealing with battleships is that you just can't burn them down and you don't have any torpedoes to use against them, and your rate of fire, while not terrible, is not overwhelming. So I figured, for science, what if we put a historical camo in this thing and we put a 12-point captain in, and not with an IFAG? Because the penetration isn't good enough to get through anything anyway, and I'm not going to set fires. But what if I put the APCS in and play this a little bit more on the brawly side? And then, of course, it helps if I'm actually being top tier here. So we're up against Queen Elizabeth, Bayern, Wang He, Graf Spee, Kirov, Marblehead, and Okhotnik. Now, Graf Spee, obviously, very dangerous guns, and the Kirov is not to be underestimated either, especially with the armor piercing. You are still in a very, very light cruiser. And yeah, it's a typical mid-tier battle. Most of the ships don't have camos. Not all of them are actually fully upgraded. So we're up against a bunch of premiums. And we'll see how much carrying we're going to have to do in this battle. And we can actually do in this battle. So yeah, APCS is an interesting choice actually for these ships. Because while at long range, the armor piercing isn't going to do anything, at medium range... especially against other cruisers, it can actually be reasonably dangerous. And once again, with the IFHE at this with these shells, it's not going to make a massive difference. As you at the end of the day against battleships, you really are relying on fires, and it's if you're close enough to a battleship that you can actually target weak points, you might as well use the armor piercing. Okay. So we're positioning kind of in the middle here, just to wait for anything to be spotted. Nothing spotted yet. What you can do with the light cruisers on the American line is you can abuse islands that you otherwise couldn't easily abuse. So I mean, this one is shallow. Okay, there's the Okhotnik. But you can fire across much higher islands than this one. So you just have to get used to the extremely long hang time. Okay, Okhotnik has stopped because he's got torpedoes coming in. And a very angry smoke screen. But by the looks of it, our team seems to be lemming training to the left. So I am just going to unload a little bit at that Okhotnik at this range. And he's going forward again, I think. Yeah, he's going forward again. So yeah, you do have to get used to to the hang time, and you gotta give more lead than you would normally do. But this is a common problem that you have in everything. Okay, so Icarus over there is being chased by Okhotnik, Graf Spee, and one other cruiser. It's the Kirov. And the Wang He. Okay. So we're gonna go and help out, because otherwise our right flank is gonna completely collapse. But look at this mountain, right? With a normal cruiser, you couldn't shoot across that. But I can actually keep firing at the Okhotnik. Okay, now I can't lock onto the Okhotnik, but I can fire. I can completely fire across this mountain range. That was too short, you know, just be impervious to enemy fire. Actually, okay, that Icarus is probably very dead. We've shot the rudder of the Okhotnik, so that'll burn his damage control if he's had it. Wang He is sitting at the corner, and yeah, Icarus is dead. Unsurprisingly, being chased by 3 cruisers and 1 ship. So now we're up against 4 out of 7 enemy ships by our own seas over here, which means the first problem that we're obviously going to have is the Graf Spee. So against that thing, I'm going to switch back to the high explosive, because my armor piercing is probably not going to do a huge amount. I mean, it's not bad. Unfortunately, right at that moment, the Wang He pops out, and I could have really used the armor piercing right here. So getting ready to change. I'm not sure where the Kirov is, but there comes some Wang He torps. So back to, yeah, they're also shooting high explosive at me, which is very welcome. So back to the AP. Wang He is reversing. He's not going to hit me with these torps, and I don't even think he has range. But I can very much hurt him on the return if he keeps giving me broadside like that. And once again, I can actually sit behind this island. Now, I'm not going unspotted because I think I'm poking too far out. Wang He is starting to smoke up. But I might be getting a couple more hits in. Not sure if he completely stopped. Just giving a blind shot here. But no, I don't know where he is. So I'm gonna focus my fire again on the Graf Spee. There comes the Kirov, but I have actually gotten some help, thankfully, from the Montecuccoli on our team. So now it's 2 against 3, and let's see if we can make that 2 against 2. So unfortunately, once again, I'm actually having the high explosive loaded, where I wanted was the armor piercing. So I'll unload the barrels on that thing. Let's kill the Wang He first. And the Graf Spee is not focusing at me, and the Kirov can't seem to be hitting me reliably. Okay, that's the Wang He down. Now the Graf Spee is the bigger threat, because he's got the bigger guns. So armor piercing out against that thing, which is actually doing a reasonable amount of damage with the APCS skill. So once again, at this range of 7 kilometers, you could very much use the armor piercing. I am going for the fire here, though. Just, you know, out of blind hope, and you never know your luck. While the Kirov is still firmly trying to chase me down, and coming in from high on the superstructure, the HE is actually doing a decent job. But now the Kirov is coming too close. Hydro up, dodges torps, and then we're going to get ourselves into an AP brawl with the Kirov, which is generally not something you want to do in a light cruiser, because the Kirov's got some really nasty guns on her. But at this range, especially with a fully upgraded ship with everything, he is in my secondary range, and I've got the rapid reload on, and suddenly the Kirov finds that what usually would be an easy target turns out to be actually able to bite back. So that's a very dead Kirov. And there's the Okhotnik still, but the Graf Spee has buggered off, and the Italian cruiser is still around, so we should be having that reasonably easily. Just a couple more shots maybe at the Okhotnik if we get the chance. And he dodged, I think. No, I've got a good set of in, but the Montecuccoli takes him out. Well done, thank you, Montecuccoli. And thank you, Graf Spee, for not just killing me. But yeah, the Black Dallas at close range with the armor piercing and the rapid reload actually is a pretty dangerous ship. Because again, while the base reload isn't grand, it is faster than on the regular Dallas. And don't underestimate the burst damage that this thing can output. So if you play this ship somewhat smartly and pick your fights and get lucky that you're in a mid-tier battle, you can actually do reasonably well in this, unlike in the normal Dallas, which is really, really difficult to actually do a lot in. But this is surprisingly not a completely terrible ship. So yeah, given that she has gotten a couple of improvements, especially the main battery reload being better and turn time being slightly better than on this, sorry, not the turn, the Yeah, the turn time, not the rudder shift. So the turn time is slightly better on this ship. So yeah, it's in the Blitz Pass. So if you're interested in the ship and want to surprise some people who think like, oh, Dallas, easy prey, and then suddenly you're still gonna struggle dealing with battleships because the fire chance is just not great, and you might end up setting 1 or 2 fires in your whole battle. But if you are concentrating more as a destroyer and cruiser killer, which also makes more sense with the sonar and the rapid reload for burst damage, if you've got the target in good range and can actually punch through with the armor piercing, then you can do a surprising amount of damage in this ship. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.